Not every relationship is built on mutual love and respect. Some relationships are quietly undermined by emotional manipulation and subtle control, often disguised in the form of care and concern. In these situations, a partner may not openly argue or criticize, but instead uses small, almost invisible actions to gain power over the other person. One of the most noticeable signs of emotional manipulation is when a woman subtly belittles her partner's growth and development. When a man begins to focus on improving himself, whether it's through working out, reading, or pursuing hobbies that make him a better person, his partner might not understand. Worse yet, she might feel threatened by his progress and react by mocking it or downplaying it. Instead of supporting him, she might use sarcasm, give him disapproving looks, or even ignore his efforts altogether. These actions may seem harmless at first, but they slowly erode his confidence and make him feel guilty for trying to improve himself. Over time, these behaviors create a toxic cycle where the man begins to shrink away from his personal growth just to appease his partner. This isn't love. It's a form of emotional control, where the partner seeks to keep him small, dependent, and obedient. In addition to mocking his growth, some women use silence as a tool for control. Silence is not just an absence of words, it's a strategic way to create emotional chaos. When a woman withdraws emotionally or shuts down without explanation, it forces her partner to question his actions, often leading him to apologize or change his behavior just to bring her back to a baseline of calmness. This emotional withdrawal can be far more damaging than overt arguments because it's much harder to confront. The man might spend days wondering what he did wrong or how he can fix things, constantly trying to please her. In the process, he loses his sense of self and begins to question his own worth. Emotional withdrawal, like sarcastic remarks, is a form of manipulation designed to make the man feel uncertain and constantly on edge. He becomes so consumed with keeping her happy that he loses sight of his own goals, dreams, and needs. A healthy relationship should allow both partners to grow individually and together. But when one partner, especially a woman, mocks or belittles the other's efforts to improve, it is a clear sign of control. In such relationships, the man will find himself apologizing for his desire to grow, watering down his focus, and seeking permission to change. This constant appeasing of his partner's insecurities is not a sign of love. It's a sign of emotional manipulation. The partner's goal is not to see him flourish, but to keep him dependent, distracted, and less of a threat to her need for control. It's crucial for a man to recognize that his personal development is not a betrayal to his partner, but a necessary part of becoming the best version of himself. If the woman in his life cannot support that growth, he must reconsider the relationship and the toll it is taking on his well-being. What often makes this situation harder to navigate is the fact that these behaviors are subtle and insidious. The woman does not scream, threaten, or display overt hostility. Instead, she uses passive-aggressive tactics like criticism masked as jokes, constant interruptions when the man is focused, or even mocking his self-improvement efforts. She might say things like, "You're too serious now," or "You never want to have fun anymore," insinuating that his desire to grow, focus, or improve is somehow a personal flaw. At first, these comments might seem trivial or even funny. The man might laugh them off, thinking that his partner is simply joking. However, over time, this kind of behavior begins to have a deeper impact. It chips away at his self-esteem and creates a sense of guilt when he tries to invest time in activities that contribute to his growth. The guilt becomes a leash, preventing him from pursuing his goals freely. Instead of feeling supported, he begins to feel like he must ask for permission to evolve. This dynamic is not love. A woman who truly loves her partner will not feel threatened by his progress. She will celebrate his growth, encourage him to pursue his goals, and be proud of his achievements. Real love does not seek to compete with personal development, it seeks to support and uplift it. A healthy woman does not need to be the center of the man's universe. She will encourage him to become the center of his own. She will support his vision, respect his time, and challenge herself to grow alongside him, not to catch up, but to walk beside him. If a woman feels intimidated by her partner's clarity, structure, and personal growth, it's a sign that she may not be in the relationship for the right reasons. She might not want a strong man, She might just want a man who is easily controlled. It's an uncomfortable truth, but some women do not want their partners to grow stronger or more independent. They want someone who is easy to manipulate, someone who will prioritize her needs over his own, and who will constantly seek her approval. If a man chooses his own growth over his partner's demands, she may begin to withdraw, create conflict, or belittle his achievements. She does this because she fears losing control over him, and the more disciplined and focused he becomes, the less control she has. This is why emotional manipulation can be so damaging. It erodes the very essence of who a person is. It makes them question whether they have the right to grow, to pursue their dreams, or to stand firm in their decisions. The lesson here is clear. Growth is not something that should be stifled in a relationship. A woman who loves you will support your personal development, your boundaries, and your self-improvement. If she mocks or belittles your efforts, or if she tries to control your time, your focus, or your emotions, it's a sign that she may not be the right partner for you. A healthy relationship is one where both individuals are free to grow and change, not one where one person's progress is seen as a threat. If a woman criticizes your self-improvement or tries to make you feel guilty for focusing on your goals, it's time to reassess the relationship and the impact it has on your well-being. As a man, it is essential to realize that setting boundaries is not only about protecting your own space, but also about asserting your sense of self and integrity. Boundaries are vital in any relationship, but especially in a relationship where one partner is trying to control or manipulate the other. A healthy relationship is one where both individuals respect each other's need for personal space, time, and growth. If a woman cannot respect the boundaries you set, or if she tries to guilt trip you into abandoning your personal goals for her sake, it's a red flag. The act of establishing boundaries is not a declaration of war, but rather a statement of self-respect. It is an essential part of protecting your peace, your focus, and your identity as an individual. When you set boundaries, you are not asking permission from your partner. You are simply stating your needs. You are showing that you value your time and your emotional well-being enough to protect them. If your partner does not respond well to your boundaries, it shows that she may not be invested in a healthy, balanced relationship. Instead, she might be more focused on maintaining control over you, making sure that you remain emotionally available whenever she demands it. This kind of dynamic is draining. It leaves little room for genuine connection or mutual growth. Over time, you may find yourself slowly losing who you are and becoming a shadow of your true self, just to meet her demands. Another sign that a relationship may be unhealthy is the constant feeling of being wrong or guilty. If every disagreement or issue becomes your fault, if you're the one always apologizing, and if your partner consistently twists the facts to portray herself as the victim, it's a classic sign of emotional manipulation. A woman who truly respects you will not make you feel like everything that goes wrong in the relationship is your fault. She will communicate openly and honestly, without twisting your words or making you feel guilty for things that are beyond your control. Emotional manipulation, especially when used as a tool to shift blame, erodes trust and respect. It's important to recognize this behavior for what it is and to not allow it to go unchecked. In relationships where emotional manipulation is prevalent, the man often finds himself walking on eggshells. He becomes overly sensitive to his partner's mood swings and emotional reactions. He starts second-guessing his every move, constantly trying to avoid conflict and maintain peace. This creates a cycle where he stops speaking up for himself, stops asserting his needs, and becomes more reactive to her emotions than to his own. Over time, this undermines his confidence and leaves him feeling mentally and emotionally exhausted. He may even begin to feel like he's walking a tightrope, afraid to set any boundaries or to express his feelings, for fear that it will upset her. A healthy relationship, on the other hand, allows both partners to communicate openly and honestly, without fear of judgment or retaliation. Both individuals should feel free to express their needs and concerns, knowing that the other will listen, respect their boundaries, and respond with understanding. Communication in such a relationship is a two-way street. Both partners take the time to listen to each other, to understand each other's perspectives, and to support each other's growth. In a healthy relationship, no one has to shrink themselves in order to fit the needs of the other person. Instead, both people can stand firm in their individuality while also coming together as a team. The real test of a relationship comes when one person begins to set boundaries and assert their right to personal growth. If your partner respects your boundaries and supports your goals, then you are likely in a healthy and supportive relationship. But if your partner reacts with anger, guilt, or attempts to undermine your decisions, it's time to reassess what you're willing to tolerate. No one should have to sacrifice their peace, self-respect, or personal development to stay in a relationship. True love is not about control or domination. It is about mutual respect, support, and growth. If you notice that your partner consistently disrespects your boundaries, manipulates your emotions, or makes you feel guilty for your personal growth, it is a clear indication that the relationship is unhealthy. It's important to recognize these red flags early on and take action to protect your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Remember, a woman who truly loves you will not seek to control you, make you feel guilty, or belittle your efforts. She will support your growth and encourage you to become the best version of yourself. Ultimately, the decision to stay or leave is up to you. However, it's essential to remember that your peace and happiness are worth more than any relationship that diminishes your sense of self-worth. You are not obligated to stay in a relationship that drains you emotionally or physically. If your partner's behavior consistently undermines your peace and well-being, it is time to walk away. Your self-respect and growth should always come first. If you choose to stay in a relationship where your boundaries are disrespected, you are not only compromising your own happiness, but you are also allowing the other person to dictate the terms of your life. In the end, the most important thing is to protect your sense of self and to prioritize your emotional and mental health. Relationships should enhance your life, not diminish it. If you are in a relationship where you constantly have to second-guess yourself, apologize for your growth, or shrink to make your partner feel comfortable, it's time to make a change. Your life and your growth are yours to protect, and no one should have the power to diminish them. When you find someone who supports your boundaries, respects your growth, and stands by you as you evolve, that's when you know you found a truly healthy relationship.